Got it.
Ready?
I'm here. I'm ready to rock.
Let's go. It's time. Put on play pants.
Episode 50, Rod. Episode 50 of the Play Pants podcast. Rod, Ryan, Jason Ginty. We've made it to episode 50. I don't know why that matters. I think people just like those weird, those landmarks. 25, 50, 100. We made it to 50 together. How the hell do we make that? And you know, we've been doing this over a year now. The Play Pants podcast brought to you by Pirates of the Quarter Tours. Go to their website, book your tour. If you're going to New Orleans, piratesofthequarter.com. Follow us on all the socials and watch this disaster on YouTube. We've got a page, subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and throw any of your comments there. We read a couple of them. Most of them. Rod, big weekend coming up. You're coming to New Orleans this weekend for Jazz Fest, dude. You fired up or what?
Yeah, I am super fired up. Let me turn this down just a hair.
The hell's going on over there?
Yeah, I don't know. Last second, everything's going screwy. So last time I was in was Mardi Gras.
Right.
Bringing the kiddo again in for Jazz Fest because that's how we do it.
Yeah.
Jazz Fest is my favorite thing in the world. We've talked about it 100 times on this podcast. So yeah, coming in on Friday, going to Jazz Fest on Saturday. I don't even have the cubes or anything. All I know is the Who. I'm such in the Who mode right now. I'll tend to the 4-year-old and then she's on her own. The Who's on stage. You got to fend for yourself, 4-year-old. Okay. I'm the Who. I'm dialed in and I don't have plans. Tessa's coming in for her first time ever to New Orleans and she's coming in for the Chili Peppers on Sunday.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I'm super excited. Weather-wise, I haven't looked. I really don't know anything, dude. Like I should know stuff and I don't.
It's going to be really hot on Saturday. So bring the sunscreen, bring plenty of water and drinks. And,
Yeah.
We'll have the group together, man. The kid will be fine. The kid will be bouncing around, having a blast because there's so much different music out there. Yeah. I don't even know who else is playing Saturday besides the Who. I usually figure it out that morning as I'm getting ready to go out there. I start looking, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go over to this area. I'll go to this stage. I'll do that. I'll get this food. I'll do this. Plan the whole thing out, Jazz Fest will be the first time in it feels like 100 years it'll be back. And I'm going to go, it opens Friday. So this podcast comes out on Thursday. On Friday, first day of Jazz Fest, I'll be out there early afternoon. Dude, I can't wait. It's like, how Jazz Fest is for us in New Orleans. It's sacred ground. It's like this ritual. It's this whole thing. It's more than just going to a festival. It's got its own thing going for it. Like people go and they don't necessarily care about a lot of the bands. Like I'm kind of one of those guys now. I just like being there.
I am. That's why I said, I go, of course, because I've never seen the Who and that's what kind of takes it to the next level for me. But Jazz Fest is kind of one of those things that it's part of the fabric of the city. It's part of the heartbeat of the city. I mean, you can come up with any silly thing you want to say about it, but you're right. It's a vibe. It's very spiritual. It's important. It's important to be there for me, just because, like you said, it's been canceled. There were supposed to be 3 Jazz Fests because one of them was going to be in October, man. And that was going to be awesome. Yeah. It was going to be cooler outside. I mean, it had never been done before. There was stuff going on with the Rolling Stones back a couple years ago. It's just been one thing after another. And if the one thing that you and I we both agreed on, because we did Mardi Gras a little bit differently, because you rolled in the parade and I did not roll on Saturday, but you got a different vibe on that, on the float where I'm down with the people, but the vibe was the same. People were just so happy to have Mardi Gras back. And it's going to be just like that for Jazz Fest. It's just to be back. We've talked about how we don't necessarily know everybody in the area, but you just recognize faces and you give them the Jazz Fest thumbs up and what's up, dude? Yeah, you look older. I look older. We've been coming here for 25 years. Still don't know your name, but good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Yeah. It's so great about it because you get out there and you'll see all the old characters. There's a guy who's selling like peanuts, but he's selling weed. There's the other guys who are selling. There are these chicks that cruise around and they're selling like flowers that you can put in your hair. They're selling weed. I mean, everyone's got a front going on out there, and it's awesome. I don't know how they get in. Anyway, Jazz Fest, I can't wait this weekend. It's going to be cool. This time, during Mardi Gras, you and I did not take one picture. together.
Did we really not?
No, can we at least get one picture, Jazz Fest?
Okay.
I'm sure people who listen to this stupid podcast would go, "Hey, you guys ever hang out together?
You guys ever really do you not like each other? Not really, but okay.
I thought you guys were friends. What the hell, man?"
I do want to give a shout out to Bonarama, who are going to be playing, and it's early. I don't know what time I'm getting out there because I got to really plan this out, but they're going on at 12:40. And Bonarama is a band. Mark Mullins is one of the great trombone players of all time. I know most of you probably know Trombone Shorty, but Mark is every bit as good and talented as Trombone Shorty, and he's amazing. And he's played with everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
But Bonarama is his thing where it's just, he sings lead vocals and he plays the lead trombone and he uses a wah-wah pedal. He puts it through a distortion pedal. He can do, I've seen him do, the whipping post. I've seen him do crosstown traffic where he will pull off a Jimi Hendrix solo on his trombone. It's unbelievable. They can do Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
There's nothing that Bonarama cannot do. But it's, funny name. It's the trombones and it's like the 3 or 4 of them out front. And I know Mark from way back in the day and from other bands. He was in all the way back in Mulebone. But they're going to be playing. Galactic is also playing. Galactic is another legendary band.
Great.
In New Orleans, but you don't ever know who's going to be coming on stage with them because they know everybody. They're so well respected. Any band out there, it doesn't matter who you are. They know Galactic. Okay. Galactic are these guys, not radio airplay guys, not a rock band, just like a fusion rock, jazz, just everything. Funk. Maybe the best drummer in New Orleans is in Galactic.
I was going to mention that. Yeah, Stanton Moore.
He might be the best drummer in the city. His name, I can't think of it right now. But a couple years ago, Galactic. What is it?
Stanton Moore.
Stanton Moore. Thank you.
He's a
couple years ago. Galactic was playing, and the lead singer of Living Colour came out and sang some songs. What? Yeah. What? You just don't know who's going to. There's a lot of collabs. There's a lot of people coming on stage with other artists and stuff. So Saturday looks to be great. Chili Peppers are going to be awesome. Everybody knows, we've talked about it. And that for people here in Houston, they're not playing Houston on this leg of the tour. They're crapping out in Dallas for this leg. And then that's it. They're going to take a little bit of a break. So the closest you can go see the Chili Peppers would be on Sunday. I got to say this though. Alex on the show. Congratulations to Alex. 7-year anniversary today on the Rod Ryan Show.
Damn.
He's turned me on to the Avett Brothers, dude. Dude, I love that band. Yeah. I absolutely love that band. Now, would I probably stay because I've never seen the Avett Brothers. I'd probably stay with you for the Chili Peppers for that experience, but the Avett Brothers are playing at the same time. And I kind of always gave Alex shit about this band. They're a little jangly and they're a little country and they harmonize. And, it took me there's a documentary and I'll think of who made the doc, but those guys are so talented. They're such good songwriters. The story of the band, the Bros, and it's don't discount them. If you're having a crawfish boil, which I know you are, some Avett Brothers in the background, sitting around drinking a beer and eating crawfish and chilling, perfect music.
All right.
Perfect background music.
I'm making a note right now. Avett Brothers for crawfish boil. Okay, there you go. I want to give a shout out to a guy who I met this past week in New Orleans, and he's a huge fan of the podcast. Trucker JP. What? Trucker JP listens to the podcast, and him and his crew came to New Orleans, and he signed up for the Pirate Tour because he heard your incredible live spots. So he went and took the Pirate Tour, said he had a great time, and sent me an email saying, hey, because he had actually emailed me a couple of weeks ago asking about New Orleans, what's open, what's not open. I said, dude, everything, do whatever the hell you want. New Orleans is back. It's awesome. And then he thanked me for some of the things I pushed him in the right direction for and stuff. So Trucker JP, dude, good to see you here in New Orleans. And he says, you bet his ass he is coming back to party again with those parents. So he was fired up, man. It was good to kind of meet him and hang out for a couple minutes with him and all his friends there, man. Cool people from Houston, man. If you're coming to You just said a minute ago, and I just kind of letting it sink in right now. Tessa, who's lived in Houston for a while, I would assume this is her first time in New Orleans.
She grew up in Corpus Christi, and she knows all about New Orleans. And then she went out to LA for a while, so she's bounced around a little bit.
Gotcha.
And it's one of those unbelievable things, and she can't put her finger on why. Everything about that city is going to be perfect for her. I mean, she's loud. She parties. She is going to get after it. She's super friendly. Like, she's perfect for that city. And I tell her, like, it's going to be a match made in heaven. It's going to be one of those things that she's never been before. And then when she goes, she's going to go, oh shit, I get it.
Right.
I get it. So I think she's going to be staying down in the quarter with me, down in the condo. So I just said, listen, I got a kid there. Let's go easy. But, her and a couple of her little fillies are going to be cruising around. So it should be interesting this weekend. Did I mention she's loud? Loud, dude. I mean, is that kind of perfect for her?
Yeah, in New Orleans, everyone that you know who is in New Orleans, we're all loud, dude. Everyone that we hang out with is so fucking loud, dude. Especially, you get a couple of drinks and people, what do? They all get louder and louder and louder. And let me explain this to you. I haven't had a drink in like a long time. So I stay the same volume. Everyone gets louder around me. Nothing better than hanging out with a bunch of drunk people, dude, when you're not drunk. Wow, is it the best? So you're still weed curious this weekend? Or we put
well, I am weed curious. I mean, what do you got? Are we doing something here? Are we making a deal right now?
Oh, no,
what just happened?
Dude, you know what's going to happen? We're going to be standing there and someone's going to be like, I guarantee you, no, someone's going to come up to us. Someone's going to ask us. Someone's going to ask us, hey, man. And then we're going to look at each other and go, fuck, now what? We ought to have a
dude, we should have got shirts up that just said weed curious.
We probably should have had a couple other shirts on too, man. We gotta get our crew, our staff to get together and get on some shirts, because weed curious is a great idea for a shirt. Please don't anybody steal that. So we're gonna do a top 5 favorite Who songs coming up here in a little while. But Ron, I wanted to tell you something that happened last week, dude. Oh, it's so fucked up. It's fucked up. Okay. I've talked about my kid on the podcast before, Henry. He, during the early stage of the pandemic, he's like, so we're not going anywhere ever again. and he was like 11 and a half, 12 years old at the time. I go, yeah, probably not for a while, buddy. And he goes, oh God. And he goes, hey, I got an idea. I want to get a fish, like a goldfish. So I said, sure, dude, no big deal. That's going to be great. Goes out, gets a betta fish, which are supposed to be a little bit easier to raise and keep alive. His died after about a week, and he figured out he got a bum fish. He took it back to the store and said, hey, dude, my fish is dead. And the guy said, oh, it's because it's got some disease. And he's like, what do you mean a disease? So then my son got all into the research of fish. Long story short, he got a goldfish, a bigger tank. And then he got other fish, got a bigger tank, got more fish added to the tank, started doing plants. Then he wanted a saltwater tank, got a saltwater tank. He's got the Finding Nemo movie? That little fish, that little red and white and black striped guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's got one
clownfish.
Clownfish, yeah. I should know this. He's got one of those fish in his saltwater tank. Now he's got coral, and he's got living coral.
Does he have anemones? Anemones?
Yeah, nobody
say it.
That word.
Say
anemone.
it.
Anemone.
Say it again.
Anemone.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know. Yeah, but I think he's got one of those in there. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So anyway, he's been sciencing it out. He knows more about the fish store than the guys who work in the fish store now. And then he's sitting there and he's got his tanks all growing and going great. He's like, we're standing in the backyard during the pandemic doing nothing. He goes, we should get a koi pond. And he just busts it out. And I'm like,
solid. Like Hugh Hefner had the koi pond, right? And you hand feed the koi.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's what we did. He goes, yeah, we'd have to dig a huge hole, get the liner. And he had already pre-researched it all. I go, all right, tell you what, I'll go buy the stuff. You come with me. You know what you want to get. This will be your project and your project only. You got to dig the hole. I'll help you, but you got to do all this stuff. Because I don't know anything about it. And I don't want to know anything about it. He goes, got it. A couple hours later in Home Depot and wherever, buying all the shit, the pumps, the filters, the the
lining. You got to get like is it just can you just use is there some kind of, do they make a fish pond liner, or can you just buy plastic?
It's kind of like a tarp material, but it's a waterproof tarp material. So yeah,
Okay.
It's specific for that. So we got that, measured it out, and I said, here's a shovel. Go ahead. The little son of a bitch dug for like 2 days, and he got it about 1.5 feet down. And it's like 12 feet by 5 feet. 12 feet long by 5 feet wide. This is a big freaking pond, dude.
And obviously I haven't been to your house in a couple of years. So
Right.
This is in the backyard.
It's in the backyard. He digs it.
Okay.
We lay out the liner. I've helped finish digging and stuff, shaping it up and everything. And we put in the filter, because you got to have a filter. It's got a little fountain to keep the oxygen kind of splashing into the water. And all it filters out is like the mud and stuff that falls in.
You're gonna have to like post a picture or something of it, but
I will.
I mean, I'll see it soon enough. But when you have the liner that comes up, I'm oddly fascinated by this whole process, by the way.
Oh my God.
So the liner comes up, and then do you put like bricks around it to hold the liner? How do you fasten the liner outside of the hole itself?
That's kind of the challenge. We've tried a couple of different options, and if it get a lot of rain, which we do in New Orleans, it sort of kind of breaks free and falls in. So we got to redo it all the time. So we haven't quite figured the aesthetics of it out yet. So we go out and get a couple koi, boom, starts growing them, test the water.
You guys, you got to be watching the YouTube channel. I have my hand up. Question in the back.
Yeah, man.
So can you just buy like a big fat fucking koi?
Yeah.
Can you just, I mean, I know what goldfish are, but I mean, can you get, my hands are out now and that's about, 8 inches. Can you get an 8-9 inch koi somewhere?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You
Where?
Go to the fish store. Go to the fish store.
They have big fish like that.
You got to go to a real fish store. You can't go down to like Petco and get some junked up
What?
fish.
What is a 9-inch koi costing me?
Ooh, I think, well,
Ballpark.
the ones he got weren't 9 inches. They were probably like 4 or 5 inches. They were smaller.
Okay.
He wanted to grow them, right?
They get you $10 a pop on those guys.
Sometimes
More.
Depending on the colors, because you can get different colored koi. You can get the orange one. You can get the orange and white kind of half and half deal going on.
See, those are badass right there. But you know what I don't like? I don't like that guy that's white and he's got gold and he's got black on him and it looks like fucking somebody shit on him and it's like barfy. I don't like that guy. I don't want that guy. I want the white and the orange guy, like they see on the tattoos.
Yes. So we had a couple of those, and then he got goldfish. He just bought like regular sized goldfish, threw those in there, and then we experimented with some other fish, but then the koi ate the little fish. So he said, okay, we can't buy those anymore. So it ended up being like 4 koi and like 6 or 7 goldfish with various colors. Okay. And for a year through the cold winter, the fish kept going. They got huge. So the koi had started out like 6 inches.
Do you have to heat the water in the wintertime?
We didn't. He said, no, he did the research. He's like, no, they can handle, they just slow down their process because they're cold fish. They can handle it. So I thought, okay, we're going to find out.
Lily pads in there? I got a lot of questions.
Lily pads. We got lily pads. He did the science on the lily pad thing, went out and bought lily pads. And then we had flowers. Lily pads have flowers that come out. So it's gorgeous.
Okay.
So we got the real deal, big, huge, like Frisbee sized lily pads. So we got a few of those in the pond, right?
Yeah.
Gorgeous fucking pond. And then you got some smaller ones. They're like smaller, like $50 size lily pads. So kind of, and the fish like that because the fish will eat at the roots and they'll eat at all this different things. So it's a
provide some shade.
It's an ecosystem and it just handles its business.
I love it.
Have to fuck with it. And all I got to do is like once every couple of weeks, clean out the filter and it's got a little fountain on it and you can hear it splashing all the time. And it's beautiful. It's very tranquil. So he will get up in the morning, eat his breakfast, and then Cruz grab the bag of koi food. He will walk outside and he will, yes, Rod, he will feed the koi like Hugh Hefner. Sometimes he's in a bathrobe. I swear to God, 13 years old, he's out feeding.
Is he throwing it out like here, chick, yes. Like throwing like chicken feed out there?
Yes, it's exactly what it is. It's the fucking coolest. It's the coolest thing.
Will they come up and eat food out of his hand?
They will,
because that was the thing that they would say. That's what they'd say about Hugh Hefner's koi pond. They would you would hand feed, you would hang on, you feed a dog a treat.
Right. it'll come up and get it out of your hand. Yeah, you could. We just, you know what? We never actually got around to it. We've never done it.
I'm doing it this weekend.
Springtime's coming a couple weeks ago, and the water was getting low. I thought, oh shit, we got a leak in the filter. Somebody dropped a rock in there. Or I did something stupid, like I went to dig out some mud and stuff, and I punched a hole in it or something. I'm like, shit. Because then you got to empty it all out, figure out what to do with all these fish. And the koi, by the way, had gotten, one of them was probably close to like 12 inches long.
Oh, shit.
The goldfish, the smallest goldfish was about 7.5 inches long. Goldfish will keep growing. I didn't know that.
Bro, I feel like you're talking in past tense here.
So
I just picked up on this. Yeah. I just picked up on this right now because I said I wanted to hand feed them, and then shit started to get weird.
So the water kept going down and down and down, but then all the plants are growing like crazy. So we put the plants in late fall, so they weren't growing a lot. They were just kind of maintaining their size and everything. Well, it's springtime. So these plants, I've come to find out there wasn't a leak. The plants were overgrowing the pond, and they were sucking the water out of the pond to grow their plants, right?
Okay.
Because it's your ecosystem. I said, dude, okay, listen, and you can't just pour water in the pond. You could, because your water out of your hose is chlorinated, right? The chlorine will kill the damn fish. They got to have like pond water. But then he's got chemicals he can throw in, and it dechlorinates the water and all that shit. I said, but you can't keep doing that all the time because it's going to fuck up your ecosystem. I said, trim back some of those plants. I go, get those plants, trim them back. I said, pull some out. I said, then we can maintain this. Okay. We can continue to do that. He's like, oh, it's a good idea. We can do that because there's way too many plants. I said, all right, cool. I take off. I go have some meetings and shit one night, go to bed, get up the next day, go to work, do all this shit. He goes to school. I get back early afternoon. I go outside to do some shit. I walk out. I look to my left because the koi pond is right to the left of my stairs. When I go down the stairs to the backyard, I look at, because it's just fun to sit out there and look at them. Like,
I love this.
It's like watching a campfire. You just sit there and you watch them. They're like cruising around.
Dude, I'm sold. I want a koi pond. Go.
It's fucking great. I got a guy. This kid's good. Dude, I look to my left, and every single one of those koi fish and the goldfish, there's like,
don't say it.
8 or 9 of them are
the foot long guy. All of them floating at the top of the pond. They're all. What the fuck happened?
They're all fucking dead.
But but what happened?
I was crushed, dude. I was crushed because I love the koi. Like we were naming them, and
tell me you picked up all. Did you get rid of the bodies before Henry got home?
Absolutely. I'm like, I cannot. It's gonna crush him. It's going to crush the poor kid, right? When he
it looks like Guyanaville. It looks like they just drank the Kool-Aid from Jim Jones.
Dude, I was like, hey, woof, and I'm like, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I'm like, okay, let me just think about this for a minute. So the filter, and it's a filter with a little fountain that squirts out the top that gives you a nice little fountain effect, okay? It runs on electricity. You pull it out, and you clean it out, you put it back in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's what happens. Okay. The filter wasn't running. So I'm like, oh, that's weird, So I check it all out, and then I unplug it. I'm like, okay, well, I got to take it out anyway because the fish are all dead. We got to clean this out. Set the filter to the side. Cool. Like I take the fish, I bury them in a hole in the backyard. So now we got the fish graveyard.
That question was coming. Where are all these fish?
They're in a hole. They're fertilizer now. So that's what happens.
That's going to be great.
So my kid comes home, and I'm like, I gotta fucking tell my kid his favorite things that he's been growing for over a year now and really loves them. They're not just one of them are dead, because he used to cry when one was dead.
Oh, geez.
You lose fish. You just lose fish. The whole fucking herd is gone, dude. So I go, dude, how do you tell a kid this? You're going to crush his soul. And I'm like, so I got some news for you, buddy. And I go, every single one of your fish in the koi pond are dead. I didn't pull punches. I just laid it out there. Very matter of fact. And he just put his head down, and he was upset, obviously. And he looks up at me and he goes, I killed him. I electrocuted him.
No.
I go, what?
Brutal.
He goes, oh no. Oh God. He said, I got you get your branch trimmers, to trim your branches. he used those to trim back a lot of the plants in the pond.
Mhm.
So what he ended up doing is the cord that runs from your electrical outlet into the water to run your pump / your fountain.
Yes.
He nicked it. And he knew he nicked it, but he didn't cut it. He just nicked it real quick. And you know how a wire's got that plastic or rubber sheeting that goes around it.
So they got electrocuted?
He electrocuted his fucking fish, dude.
He didn't notice it right away?
It didn't get him right away. Somehow, overnight, the electricity just fucking, the wire must have moved just enough, or the water got into it finally. And the pump, because he cut the cord, cut the rubber on the cord just enough, it electrocuted. Now, it killed, because you got those, those outlets where you've got the little test and reset button. So that way nobody will get electrocuted.
GFCI, something like that.
Whatever it is, you got them in your kitchen, right?
Mhm.
Well, I did some research, and I'm like, oh shit, it tripped that.
It tripped it, right?
And what happened must have been just enough electricity in that split second, fucking killed all the fish. He
Zapped them.
He electrocuted fucking like 9 koi fish.
Ooh.
And he goes, oh my God, I electrocuted my fish. Dude, have you ever heard of anyone electrocuting fish?
What do I do when I see them this weekend? Do I say something? Bro, heard about your fish? Sorry.
Yeah, I think that would be the best, because the joke.
And I'll leave it at that. If he wants to talk about it, then great. I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to ask any. There'll be zero follow-up. Heard about the pond. Sorry, bro. Next time, be better.
Because, like people, your dog, your cat, your pets, people get upset when that happens.
Yeah.
Very much so, and deservedly so. His fish were almost more to him because he had researched them and he had figured it all out. And he had
that's brutal, man.
Perfect ecosystem going and all this shit. Yeah, dude, he electrocuted his own fucking fish that he worked so hard for. So I'm still bummed out.
I mean, did he freak, dude? I mean, what?
He handled it pretty well. Like, he was upset, believe me. And then the next morning, all night you couldn't talk to him. The next morning, breakfast for school. There's no feeding the koi. That's weird. You know what I mean? Like, ew, shit.
Was he all right with you kind of being the cleaner? I mean,
yeah, that was fine. He
didn't say anything like I wanted to see or anything like that. You just said, look, buddy, I didn't want you to be involved in that. I got rid of everything for you.
Because at first I was like, how did they all get a disease and die at exactly the same time? Because he will look at them, and because if a fish gets sick, he will look at it and figure out what the problem was and how they died. He's that kind of guy, right? No, he nuked them. He zapped his entire fucking tribe of fish, man.
Henry.
Yeah.
Feel bad for the little guy.
He's better now, but yeah, we're gonna have to reset and start again, but we're gonna redesign, and so it's a little bit of a mess right now. So yeah, my kid electrocuted his fish.
Damn, dude.
Like, how do you even begin to tell your kid, hey man,
come here, Voodoo, give me a hug. God. Voodoo, give daddy a hug. Terrible.
Like,
all right, well, I feel bad.
Dude, you know how it is, man. It's like us hanging out. It's like anybody in my house. My wife threw just a little soft. Like 3 days later, she threw like we're trying to figure out where we're gonna have dinner, right? She goes, "How about a fish fry?" Fucking cold.
I mean, really
cold. Like, he just looked. I'm like, ooh, you might be a little soon on that one, lady. Like a fish fry. What the fuck? Anyway. So yeah, so be careful out there, kids, with your. And it's honest mistake because it's all vines, and as soon as he did it, he knew it, but he didn't think he did anything wrong. And then as soon as I told him, he knew what happened.
While we're telling fish stories,
no, we're not doing that.
Jason and I, we lived together for a long, long time, for a number of years, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And this is what he's talking about is Henry, his first kid, his firstborn, his daughter is my goddaughter. Okay. So Julia, and this has got to be going back almost 20 years now. Absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
So Jason and I are living together. I have a fish tank and Julia's with us.
You had a fish bowl. That was no tank.
Okay, I had a fish bowl. I had a goldfish. I had a fish bowl. And I'm like, I'm going to be going away for the weekend, guys. Here it is. Just a pinch. That's it. One pinch once a day. Boom. Easy. It's the easiest thing, man. Just once a day. Julia may have been 5 years old, may have been 4 years old.
Yeah.
But she seemed to understand just a little pinch. I'm like, okay, so I go away for the weekend. I come back. Cool. Everything looks great. The place looks awesome. Okay. I go and I don't even, it's not like you come home and you check on your fish. You just, you come home. It's like, okay, I'm unpacking, whatever. And then I'm in the kitchen and I'm just hanging out. I'm like, that doesn't look like the same fish. They fucking put an imposter goldfish in my goldfish bowl, thinking that I wasn't going to notice.
Well,
you fish murderer. And maybe Henry needs to hear that story about his dad. But a fish was purchased and you bought one that looked similar, but it clearly was not the same fish. And you're laughing about it. So I'm glad that it's not a traumatic experience for you as it is for I.
I know you're still a little sore about that. I see. That's
Replace the fish.
You know what? And I won't. And I'm not defending because what I did was wrong. What we did was wrong. My 4-year-old daughter and myself as an adult.
I don't know how the fish died. It's just all I know is it died on your watch. I mean,
we came out one morning to.
Did you try to take him out of the bowl for a walk or something?
No, nothing. I said, Julia, we cannot kill Uncle Raji's fish, dude. We cannot kill that dude's fish because we'll never fucking hear the end of it. Obviously. Yeah. So, yeah, we come out the one morning, it's dead. I go, oh God.
It was fine when I left.
I know.
It was completely. It was a healthy fish. It was a very healthy, happy fish.
It was, and she goes, well, what are we gonna do? I go, I don't know. She's like, well, we should buy him a new one. And I'm like, that's a great idea, Julia. Well, let's do that, because you're going to get a new one anyway.
Matter of fact, let's buy him a new one that looks just like it and let's not say anything.
Well, see, that's
kind of what happened. That's a weird lesson to teach your kid.
From your side of things, that's exactly how it looks. But from our side, we bought the damn fish that next morning, threw it in the bowl, and then you came home. We forgot we did it. And then you're like, hey, so in the crosshairs, in the crossing of the thing, I'm like, oh, shit. Julie goes, she just looks at me like, well, you're in trouble. I'm like, what do you mean I'm in trouble?
It doesn't look like this. I mean, it was close, but it wasn't the same fish.
We tried.
All right.
It was the wrong lesson to teach my kid, obviously, too. Shitty parent.
We're going to do the top 5 Who songs coming up. Our top 5 favorite Who songs. I don't remember the last time I enjoyed putting together a top 5 list like this. I think it's because I'm so excited because I've never seen the Who before. You've seen them a couple of times?
They've played Jazz Fest, I think, twice, and I've seen them both times. They're great.
Okay.
They are fucking great.
Still, they're old, man. They're super old.
They're way older now.
Okay.
So.
Well, I really enjoyed this because the Who's never been my favorite band. But I always recognize them. And I do want to do a little breakdown too. It's like, okay, where are they? Where is the Who on any kind of a list? So we can do maybe a little subtopic on that. But, I've always appreciated the band. They're all monster musicians, including the vocals, but it's just they're monster musicians. And if I didn't put John Entwistle on my bass list when we did that a year ago, then if neither one of us had John Entwistle as best bass guitarist or even in that top 5, then we were both dumb. Wow. Just unbelievable. Just an unbelievable bass player.
And you don't really think about it with him.
I'm looking forward to what's that?
I said, you don't really think about that with him. I mean, I'm sure people who are super fans and musicians are like, yeah, he was, Thunder Fingers is one of his nicknames, and it's like, okay.
The Ox.
Yeah, the Ox. He was badass.
So we're going to do top 5 favorite Who songs. You want to take a quick break? You want me to work my magic right here? You want me to work my magic?
Yeah. The Who, and like you said, let's get into some stuff about the Who because man, that band is again never been a band that I'm like, oh yeah, let's go crank up some Who. Never been my favorite band. I like a lot of their songs. Never gave a shit about it. And everyone always hears the crazy stories about them throwing TVs out of hotel rooms. That band has gone through a lot of shit. Where is the biopic about The Who? We've talked about biopics for bands. The Who doesn't get the big screen version, I don't think.
But that'll play into my discussion. Where are they? Where are they? I mean, we don't, without even getting into it, which we will, they're a top 10 rock band all time, right? There's no argument there?
Has to be.
Okay. There's no argument there. Now, I don't know if they're top 5. I don't know. But I don't think there's even a room for any discussion about them not being in a top 10 list of the greatest rock bands of all time. All right. So we'll get into that. Just tell me when you want me to do my magic, dude. Tell me. Do
your magic. Cause we've been talking about.
Tell me when you want to do my magic, my golden voice, the voice of an angel, the songbird of our generation.
Wow.
Delivering the commercial for our only sponsor. I think that's just pulling in. It's just pulling in the customers. You tell me when you're ready to go. Tell me when you're ready for me to go. And I'm going to do a little clinic here on how to do a live endorsement. Okay.
So we got the top 5 favorite Who songs of all time coming up. And yes, I am going to give an exclusive coming up, exclusive news. I haven't announced this to the world. I haven't put it on Facebook yet. I saved it for the Play Pants podcast. Exclusive news. Okay. Coming up.
I'm excited.
After the break. Go ahead, Golden Tickler.
Well, now, if you're heading down to New Orleans, make sure you check out piratesofthequarter.com. You can check them out on all the social medias at Pirates of the Quarter. There's no other walking tour like it. Is that not? That's what's going to bring in the customers, bro.
Dude, how many times about? No. Let's go back. How many fucking guys do you listen to?
Thank you, Johnny.
Do shit like that. Still to this day, they talk like that on the radio. And you're just like, bro, cut it out. Just talk like a human being, man.
All right. This is what brings them in. This is what brings them all in. All right. So New Orleans, we've talked about it a ton. Jazz Fest. I'll be there this weekend. You'll see some pirates roaming around the French Quarter. It's a walking tour. Okay. There's a bunch of options there. Okay. We're always super honest about all this stuff. There's a lot to do in the French Quarter. There's a lot to do in New Orleans in general. Okay. I'm telling you to carve out a little bit of time and take the pirate tour. Okay. There's no other tour like it in the French Quarter. You're walking around, you're partying, you're drinking, and you've got a pirate as your tour guide, and he's taking you and your group out. It's you and all your buddies. Okay. And you're walking the streets of New Orleans and you're hearing these incredible real stories. And I'll say this because I don't like to put anybody else down, but what these guys are telling you are real stories, things that historically happened in some of the areas that you're going to be walking in. The pirates played a huge part in the history of how New Orleans became the city that it is. All right. So this tour, you're going to be surprised. You're going to walk away with some knowledge. You're going to be partying, having a great time the whole time you're doing this. And you're drinking and you're walking. And there's so much more to New Orleans than just Bourbon Street. So set aside just a little bit of time. The history of New Orleans in general is really, really fascinating. But the pirate history stuff, it's next level. So details, piratesofthequarter.com. And they got all the socials at Pirates of the Quarter, and book them, man. You know, you're coming in, whether it's a weekend or during the week, they're booking tours, man. So make sure you check them out online and look at their schedule. Bam.
That was pretty good. Not bad. I'd give out of 10. I'd give it 6.5.
Pretty good. The phone's ringing off the hook right now.
Keep practicing, Rod. You'll be fine. We just finished up. What's great about New Orleans is we just finished up with French Quarter Fest, which was great this past weekend. Just people everywhere. People love in the city, walking around. The streets were jammed up. It was great. It was a great weekend in the city. So now it's all about Jazz Fest this week. See what I mean? New Orleans is back and we're flowing, and it's just awesome right now. It's a great time to be in the city. The weather's still pretty good before it gets super hot. Looking forward to it. Rod, the Who played at least twice at Jazz Fest over the years, and I got to see them both times. When they played. And I just remember them thinking the same thing you just said a minute ago about, dude, they're old as shit. Well, they were old when I saw them last time, and they still deliver the goods. Roger Daltrey, and that's the hardest part. I mean, Pete Townshend's playing the guitar and can still shred, does what he does. But for Roger Daltrey to hit the notes in some of those Who songs, it ain't easy. And he was pulling it off. Now, I don't know if he's got some background singers or how he's doing it, but it sounded great the last 2 times I saw the Who. So I think you're in for a treat, man. And they're out on tour. They just started their tour just now too. So I guess it's going well.
So they'll be fresh. So that's good too. I mean, you're going to have fresh legs out there. It's like, it's like a fresh skates on the ice type of deal. Where are the Who? I mean, let's just get rid of some of the groundwork. Okay. I'm not going to fight you on Beatles or Stones, but that's 1 and 2. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
okay.
It has to be. It has to be.
And then I really feel you got to go Zeppelin and Sabbath. Again, we can argue about placement of certain bands and stuff. I'm just trying to figure out how big is the Who? So if I'm saying Beatles, Stones, Zeppelin, Sabbath,
Jimi Hendrix
all time with his short, minuscule career, greatest guitar player of all time, but with that incredibly shortened career.
But he still resonates today. I mean, it's just the longevity of his music and his impact. I mean, look at how many people have.
Here's what I got. Okay. You just tell me. I really feel like I need to have those 4 bands that I said. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
I feel like I need to have those bands. So now what I'm asking you is I have the Who versus this band. Do you put them above them or below them? We're going to figure out where the Who fits.
Right.
Okay.
I like it.
The Who versus U2. Who's bigger? All time.
Wow.
All time.
Well, it is a tough one because U2 is just massive.
Out of the gate, it's tough.
Still massive. But
on the list of the biggest rock bands of all time.
You got to put the Who above U2. I think
you put the Who above. Okay, so U2 is below them. Okay. The Eagles, which is the biggest rock band from America.
Shit, that's a tough one. I think
the Eagles are the biggest rock. The Eagles are the biggest rock band from America. I'll talk about a couple of others, but they're really, I mean, they're the champion. They're the biggest thing that we have to offer on this list. They're the first American appearance. They're the first American appearance on the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. So do they go above the Who or beneath them? There's no right or wrong answer.
I think the Eagles have sold so many albums and stuff, and they have and they've been around, 70s, 80s, gone for a long time, reunited, still out there touring right now. And the Who've just been around since the mid 60s.
So
I hate the fucking Eagles too. So I'm going to put the Who above them.
Okay.
I just don't like the Eagles very much.
Okay. AC/DC.
Shit. This sucks. I hate this job.
Who's bigger all time, the Who or AC/DC?
I think AC/DC is more universally known.
Okay.
Because they just AC/DC. You see that logo done. Everyone knows an AC/DC song, I think.
Okay. You just push the Who down. That's okay.
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses or the Who?
Fuck. God. See, you almost got to go Guns N' Roses on that one. I think.
This is where I'm going to talk you out of it. Okay. This is where I'll talk you out of it. Guns N' Roses, awesome. They're one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you want to sit here and you want to nitpick, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, great. Okay. One album.
Yeah.
One
Appetite.
album.
It's true.
One album. I love Guns N' Roses. I'll fight. It's one album. It is. They just don't have the body. They don't have the body of work.
No,
they don't.
They got a lot of songs, but at the end of the
one
day,
album.
You're right. Who's got the longevity? The Who has got, yeah, right. No,
okay.
I'm going with you on that one. I've changed my mind.
Okay.
Changed my mind. That's a good call.
This is, I think, okay. Metallica.
Jeez, man, that's another tough one. How the hell do you get Metallica?
Because this is what I slapped this together as like the top 10 biggest rock bands of all time. I think the Eagles are bigger than Metallica. And you've already told me that the Eagles are less than the Who. So unless you think Metallica is bigger than the Eagles, which I'm not looking at album sales or anything right now.
See, that's where it gets weird, man. Because without any, if you want to compare data and stuff, you got the Black Album that sold 1 billion albums, and you got their early albums that I don't think were huge sellers, but super popular.
Didn't outsell it. None of it outsold the Eagles' greatest hits. No single album.
No.
Of Metallica. They may have sold more albums overall by now, though.
I don't know.
Is Metallica bigger than? Is the history of Metallica bigger than the history of the Who?
No.
Wow.
No.
And
because there's so many songs from the Who.
There's two more bands, which again, this is an American band, and you've already pushed the Eagles and Metallica and Guns N' Roses below. The only other band from America that would be in the discussion would be Aerosmith. It's the only other band that deserves to get a mention.
Yeah. See,
but I still don't think an American band. I think the first American band on the all-time list might make an appearance at number 6.
Wow. Yeah. See, but the Who had such an odd career because they were mid-60s. They get going and they were flying right along. It was all great. Keith Moon dies. Oops. And then they kind of did a few things, and then they took this huge time off from
they did take a lot of time off,
the mid 80s to 96 or some shit. So you got this huge gaping hole. And then I couldn't tell you anything after really a whole lot that they did later. I just couldn't. I'm sure they did that I would know, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. I think you look at I always looked at the Who as a band and I'm not comparing the two, but bands like The Doors and anything like that, all that 60s stuff. I always feel like that's the Who. I feel like they're over there. I feel like they're back there and they had a show. I don't feel like they're still going. You know what I mean? And they are still going. Right. I think, you say, Guns N' Roses had Appetite and then maybe a little bit of Use Your Illusion stuff, but one album. Well, the Who had a bunch of albums back then. And then after that, I kind of okay, well, did they do anything else? I mean, I guess they did. So that's where the Who gets weird for me.
Aerosmith bigger or smaller?
I just when you factor this in, does it matter that the Who were there to start the whole thing off in the mid 60s with everybody else?
You get a little credit for that, I think.
I think you get a couple of for that.
I think you get a couple extra stones on that side of the scale.
Because I'm looking at it as without bands like the Who, do you get Aerosmith in the same way you have today? Do you get all these, because without the Who, do you get the Eagles? Do you get the Eagles? Do you get, I'm not comparing, I'm not thinking the Guns N' Roses come from the Eagles, but you see what I'm saying? There's those stepping stones of rock. Without the Who, do you get these other bands that are out there? I don't know. That's a weird fucking list. That's hard to do. I hate this. I hate this job.
Well,
this one.
So Aerosmith above or below the Who?
Shit. I'm gonna go below. Okay. What the Who?
All right.
There? Yeah.
So far, you're correct.
Oh, good. I'm glad I'm correct.
So you put the only band that you said you put AC/DC above them out of everything else, and you struggled. There's only one other band in my mind. That could possibly push the Who down because you've already said the Who are bigger than U2, Eagles, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and Aerosmith. Everything that America has to offer. Those are America's biggest bands. I mean, somebody's going to argue about the Beach Boys, maybe. The only other band that may push the Who down 5 at the best they could do on this list is 6. Does this band push them down to 7? Pink Floyd. Who's more important? Who's bigger?
You know what? I think you got to put Pink Floyd in there. I think it's the toughest. I think it's the toughest one right now. I think that is the toughest comparison with everything that we've mentioned. You could almost flip a coin. Because think of Pink Floyd was there 67, 68. They get going and then they have some success coming out of the the British scene and stuff. And then of course the Wall and
Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark Side of the Moon. I mean, those are landmark. And without those albums, do we get all these other bands? Does progressive rock take off? Does all this other shit happen?
Are they bigger than the Who?
See, if I say something like album sales, the time that Dark Side is spent on the album charts is thousands of weeks. then that trumps it, Or do you say, okay, well, if Pink Floyd got together and toured, the ticket sales they'd be playing stadiums where the Who's playing, smaller venues outside of Jazz Fest. You know what I mean? So you start factoring all the other bullshit.
You say smaller venues, they're still playing big houses, though.
They're still playing big venues, yeah. But I think Pink Floyd would just destroy. I think you
Who's
put
bigger?
Pink Floyd above them. Put Pink Floyd above. And I fucking like Pink Floyd.
On this podcast, and I think it's right on. You can kind of place bands where you want, but if you go Beatles, Stones, Zeppelin, Sabbath, in that rarefied air, and then now you've got Pink Floyd and AC/DC jockeying for position. Then now, and I think you're right. I think we're comfortable putting the Who there. That's how excited I am now. Okay. It's one of the biggest, greatest rock bands of all time. That's what I was doing today. As I'm listening to these songs and trying to get together my top 5, I'm also getting myself psyched up that, okay, so I didn't see the Beatles, but I've seen the Stones. Of course, I didn't see Zeppelin. I have seen Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see Pink Floyd, U2, Metallica, AC/DC, everything else on the list that we talked about. Of course, I've seen the Who. I have to knock that off of a top 10 greatest rock band of all time. I cannot wait. You helped me get excited because you said the Who is that good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. I hope they deliver the goods for you because, like when
it's okay. Listen, they're old. I'm not expecting it's the vocals that you're going to be critical of, that I'm going to be critical of.
Correct.
You can kind of, I just want to see them. I just want to see them. I do. I want to knock it off on my list. I was surprised at how many people told me bad reviews for Bon Jovi, who performed last night here in Houston. And I couldn't tell you how many bad reviews I saw on social media. They were really critical of John's vocals, man. They just were kind of tearing him apart. And he was doing a lot of the sing it for me, the tricks that a lot of the bands do. The singers, when they get a little bit older, they kind of, Vince Neil does it every song. Sing half the song for me, please. Wait. I didn't know that. I didn't know that about Bon Jovi. I didn't know that his voice had deteriorated. I haven't seen him in a long time either.
Dude, the videos I've been seeing, people have been posting videos all over Facebook of like the current tour with Bon Jovi, and it's just fucking terrible. They played, and I like John Bon Jovi does a lot of great charity work. He's an awesome fucking dude. He's just the coolest dude. But man, you know what? If you can't sing, it's hard because he wants to go out and still do that, but he just isn't pulling it off. He played Jazz Fest. They played Jazz Fest a couple of different times, and I got to see him because I'd never seen him back in the heyday. Right? I'm like, holy shit, this is going to be a hit factory. Bon Jovi's going to come out there, and they're going to be great. And even then, it was probably 5 or 6 years ago when I saw them, they were okay. Now, this is coming from a guy who, has seen a billion bands. So I'm like, the songs don't feel right. I'm like, why do these, like I kept turning to my wife going, these are good, but something's wrong. Something doesn't feel right. My brother-in-law goes, they slowed them all down. They slowed them all down because he can't hit the high notes. This all like
tuned them down.
Or however you do that. Yes, they were playing them slower. Like they were playing them fucking slower too.
Okay. Well, they could possibly do that too, but then you could also tune down, and that's a real simple, easy trick where, and he could just sing. Yeah, that stuff. I mean, but yeah, you sing that stuff as a young man, and that stuff, it's not gonna age well. Those older songs. But
it was like it took the steam out of all the songs. It was all slowed down. Everything was just like, ugh. So, you got all these sing-along songs that they got all those hits, and it just wasn't the same. So yeah, that was a bit of a letdown. But the Who's not going to let you down, because once Townsend starts whipping the windmill, you're going to fucking lose it.
Okay. Because some of these songs that are on my list, some of these songs go back to the 60s. So wow. I'm ready for my top 5.
All right. Because mine is not super, like, I got no real weird stuff on mine. I kind of stuck to fairly well-known songs. I got no deep cuts, I guess is what I'm saying. Like sometimes.
No, I don't think I have deep cuts. No, I don't. I don't think I have anything that's going to be a shocker on here.
No. Why don't you go fire away? Let's do it. Let's get your 5 favorite Who songs so that we can sit there and hope to hear at least a few of them this Saturday night.
In at number 5, 1977. Who Are You?
Great.
And I'll say this: Ringo Starr's kid. People are raving about what a great drummer he is. What an unbelievable Starkey. His last name is Starkey.
Zach Starkey.
Zach Starkey. And they say he is great. Okay. Because Moon the Loon was awesome. He had such a unique style. And not only was he fun to watch, but he was fun to listen to. And he played the drums quite differently than everybody else. It was different. He had such a unique style. And Who Are You is one of the ones where he really, I'm picking that song because of how great the drums are in that song. So Who Are You is in at number 5. And that's a shout out to Keith Moon. In at number 4, and this is a shout out to Roger Daltrey, because I feel this is his greatest vocal performance, is Love Reign Over Me.
Oh, fucking love that song, man.
Love Reign, and it's not Love Reigns Over Me. And I don't know if you play this on classic rock radio, but do people take the time to say Love Reign Over Me? Because it's O''ER. That's the song. Right. If you're on classic rock, do you say Love Reigns Over Me?
Dude, it's classic rock. You think those dudes, you'd have to stop and explain it to so many people. Nah, I don't think we've played it in years either.
Rain on me.
Such a great song.
Rain on for me.
It's epic.
Epic. I think it's Roger Daltrey's, outside of the Scream, which will come up in a second. Yeah. But overall, throughout the song, that is his greatest vocals. And I can't even imagine. I'm not expecting to hear that song, Jason Ginty. I am not expecting to hear that.
Fuck, I hope we do. I love that song.
He can't do it though, right? Like, I don't even think you can do an old man version. Let's tune it down. Let's slow it down. I'm just trying to think if there's holding the mic. I'll sing it for him. I mean, I don't think they can do that. I'm not even looking at setlist.com or anything. I don't want to know.
No.
I will not look up a set list, and I forbid anybody to look up a Who set list before I go see them on Saturday. Love Reign Over Me. 4. Number 3, and this is where I go back to the 60s, My Generation. That's their signature song, man. I mean, that is their signature song. Not my number 1, but Hope I Die Before I Get Old. And obviously they're old. I got it,
Whoops.
Time for me to key in on John Entwistle. And this is why he's one of the greatest rock basses of all time. He owns the song The Real Me. Dude, he plays it like it's the lead guitar on that. Billy Sheehan, Buffalo guy, right. He would overplay so much on his songs because he was so great, but right. Billy Sheehan overplayed. He did. He was great. He was awesome. He could overplay. He wanted to be Eddie Van Halen on the bass. John Entwistle, he never overplayed. He was so great. He was so unbelievable, but never was he better than the song The Real Me. And it's one of the great bass songs. It's one of the great bass guitar songs of all time. Damn. That's my number 2. And I just struggled, dude. I struggled, but won't get fooled again. The Scream, the greatest scream in rock and roll of all time. There might be a third and a fourth, but there's not a second. I'm not a lyric guy at all, but Meet the New Boss, same as the old boss. That might be the song lyric that I quote the most in my life. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Won't get fooled again. The party on the right becomes the party on the left. I never talk politics, but they did in this song. And it's the greatest scream in rock and roll history. It's their best song. Won't Get Fooled Again, my number 1 Who song.
It's funny because when you were doing, I always write down your top 5. So I go back later and kind of listen to some of the songs in case our lists are different. And when you said number 1, I already filled in "Won't Get Fooled Again" for you. I was like, there's no way he's not using that as number 1. Come on, now it's a great song. And the scream. I mean, it's so good. It's so good. Now, how does that play out when we see him in a couple of days? That's what's going to be fun to watch. I think he can pull it up, close. Close. Hopefully.
So the other vocal line, and I'm not comparing the bands at all, but the other vocal line that when you go to a concert and you're waiting for the guy to hit the note, it's Whitesnake and it's "Here I Go Again." And then he's got that "Here I Go." He's got that. And everyone's kind of waiting for him to hit it. And the approval that you give him, okay, because Coverdale can kind of still sing his ass off. It's not as good as it used to be. He's in his 70s.
Right.
And, but he can hit some fucking notes still. And we're all sitting around and we're loving because it's "Here I Go Again." It's such a great song and it's so anthemic. But in the back of my mind, okay, is Daddy hitting that note? Is he really going to hit that? I'll be doing the same thing because no question, there's no way they don't do "Won't Get Fooled Again" as a song. Everyone's going to, the approval, if he even goes for it, he doesn't have to hit it. It doesn't have to sound like it did in 1971. But if he goes for it, you gotta fucking give him, you gotta give it to him for that. Just for attempting.
I mean, and to think about that, like when you made that song back in 71, you weren't thinking you'd probably be going to be singing it or have to try and pull that scream off.
Right.
In 2022, you're not thinking that way. You're just not.
And in 1971, when he does this scream, and I hope everybody knows what we're talking about, but it's the Roger Daltrey, the signature scream in that song. In 1971, I don't know how old he is. He's in his 20s. That microphone, like he was chewing on it. Okay. When he did that scream on stage Saturday night, that microphone will be a mile away from him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But again, I don't care. Any effort at all to hit that scream, I'm going to fucking lose my mind, dude. I can't wait. That's how excited I am to see The Who.
All right. So
that will be a moment. That'll be a moment for us. We'll share that. I can't wait.
Yeah. It's going to be great. It's going to be very, very cool. So let me ask you about Keith Moon. Put your Ringo Ryan hat on. All right. And let's talk about Keith Moon, because his style was very interesting. Is he got a jazz background? Because think about the time he's coming.
A lot of those guys did. Guys did because they were like making it up as they went. I mean, that's where you go and you look at some of that old Sabbath stuff, man. That stuff swings, man. Yeah. It swings. Right. You're like, Sabbath, go listen to old Sabbath. Okay. Bill Ward swings. Yeah. Okay. And then when he gets locked in with Geezer Butler, I mean, it's jazz,
right?
It's jazz with, this new invention of this heavy metal, these guitar sounds that are coming out. But yeah, all of those guys, go back and look at a guy like Ginger Baker or something. Oh, yeah. They probably started out as jazz guys, because
they're coming up. Think about it. If they're 65, the Who kind of gets rolling. Jazz is still pretty hot. And they all probably were kids learning to play jazz drums. That's who you're listening to, because it's the late 50s when you're learning.
But he was one of the best showmen. And he's really responsible for these arms flying around that these guys do and the twirling of the sticks and everything. He did something that nobody's ever really recreated. There's a lot of crazy drummers and there's Animal on the Muppet Show. But Keith Moon did things that nobody ever really recreated. And they put in that guy from the Faces, and I thought he was a good drummer. He filled in, and he was with them for a while, Jones. But everyone raves about Ringo's kid, and they say how great he is, and they say, you know what, he was the guy that they needed that, right after Moon, but he wasn't old enough at that time.
Roger Daltrey didn't like Kenny Jones.
Kenny Jones, yeah,
he didn't. He would say in interviews, he goes, Kenny's a hell of a drummer, but man, he's just not right for us. Like he would say he wasn't the right guy for the Who, but he got overruled on the band.
He was a good drummer.
Yeah.
He was a good drummer. Listen, you lost, that was the equivalent of losing John Bonham. It's just one band chose to go on and the other one didn't. John Bonham probably goes down as a better drummer, but Keith Moon, the same thing, innovative, and they could have easily packed it up because who are you going to get to replace that guy on the drums, So he goes down as one of the all-time greats, but maybe the greatest showman behind the kit ever.
Showman and can play because there's a lot of great.
Yeah, he can back it up. And there was supposed to be a movie. And, you were talking about, why isn't the Who gotten their rock doc? Well, because you told me that before we get a rock doc, and I guess the other band probably that's in this list is Queen, that we didn't talk about with the greatest rock bands of all time. Until there's a movie about all those bands that you said were bigger, then the Who won't get that treatment yet, But if Queen, that's the other band I probably should have thrown at you.
Yeah.
Is Queen bigger than the Who?
Jeez, I really don't like this at all.
Yeah.
Woo-wee, that's a good one too, man. The Queen weren't around as long, but they did have some anthemic songs, but then so did the Who.
The movie brought so many more people to the party.
It's true.
But the band Queen.
But that counts. Does that count? Does that give you credit?
I do. I think it counts. I mean, because it's just a whole new level of fans that adds to your overall lore. So the movie is in play for any consideration for how popular and big and important somebody is. The movie absolutely plays into it.
Yeah. The Queen one's tough too. Shit, I don't know. But see, the Who, and I was doing my research, the Who have had so many messed up things happen to them over the years that they would make a great movie. Like you'd be like blown away at all the crazy shit that they did. Like the whole throwing TVs out of hotel rooms. It was Keith Moon who actually paid a bunch of cab drivers in New York City to block both ends of a street because he wanted to throw everything in his hotel room out on the street and didn't want to hit any cars and get anybody hurt. So there's more to just throwing TVs out of the hotel room. He paid cab drivers to block the streets. There's a scene in your movie, dude. That's great. Keith Moon ended up killing like his limo driver because he ran him over. He didn't know how to drive a car, but some skinheads were attacking him. And the limo driver got out to try and get the skinheads away. Well, Keith Moon tried to back it up and ended up running over the damn limo driver. Keith Moon dies. Okay. That's huge in the thing. Roger Daltrey was kicked out of the Who because he got into a fight with Keith Moon back in 1965. Roger Daltrey took all of Keith Moon's drugs and flushed them down the toilet. Keith Moon got pissed off. The rest of the band kicked Daltrey out of the band for a couple days. And then they patched it up, put him back in the band. Dude, their movie is basically written by itself. And then, of course, don't forget about Cincinnati. Holy shit.
Right.
They're warming up.
There's a lot.
And then, a bunch of kids get trampled. There's no more festival seating in Cincinnati to this day because of all the deaths and stuff. So, I mean, they've got, and then, Entwistle, he's doing blow in Vegas and kills himself. I mean, there is so
as an old man, you're still partying like that.
So, I mean, their movie, if someone hasn't written a script already, shit, man, give me I'll go write the script. This is amazing stuff.
So this is kind of on the fly right now. So Mike Myers has always wanted to make a Who movie, and Mike Myers wanted to play Keith Moon. He looks like him. He would do him brilliantly. Yeah. You know what I mean? It would be because you would almost think, Keith Moon, there's a little Austin Powers in him. Right. there really is. Right. So in the early 2000s, and I know this, that there was talks Mike Myers was going to do this. It was a done deal. I don't know if that damn Love Guru killed Mike Myers' career or what. I know he doesn't need to work, but it says here, The Real Me, the long gestating biopic about the Who drummer Keith Moon. So it's going to be based on him. It's going to begin shooting this summer after 2 decades of film purgatory. Variety's now reporting both Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend are supporting the film, and they're going to be executive producers. Wow. And it's going to follow Keith Moon and his career. So I don't see anything.
Well, Mike Myers is too old and too big now. He can't. I mean, big is in size.
Mike Myers was okay. Here we go. So Mike Myers was set to play Moon before the project fizzled out. Now Daltrey has one key requirement for the casting. It's going to be very dependent on the actor and the actor's eyes. Moon the Loon, man, he had some crazy ass eyes. Yeah. He had some crazy eyes, and that was a part of him behind the kit. His face was so expressive, with his arms flying around. His face, he was fun to watch. He was so animated. He was like a cartoon character. So it's going to be very dependent on the actor's eyes, he explained, because they've got to cast it completely from the eyes, because Moon had extraordinary eyes, as well as can assume natural inclination to put dynamite in a drum kit. Okay. So this is from January of 2022. Okay. So maybe they're still casting, but Mike Myers out. It just sat so long. It's like all those Janis Joplin projects. At one point, there was 3 of them in the works, and they were all like racing to maybe be done first, and then none of them came out. And it was going to be, oh man, who's it? Come to my window.
Melissa Etheridge.
Melissa Etheridge.
Player years ago.
She's too old to do it now. Right. And then it was supposed to be Renee Zellweger was talked about at one point, because Renee Zellweger can sing her ass off. She's too old to play it now. Right. So, these things fizzle out over time, but it looks like you're going to get your, it's going to be a Who movie from the perspective of Keith Moon's life, which you said, of course they can cover all the other stuff, but Keith Moon's the guy. That's the guy you want to follow. That's the guy you want a camera following around.
Hell yeah. No, that would be a great movie.
All right, let's go. Top 5.
Top 5. I thought I already did mine. We talked about it so long. I thought we already did mine. Holy shit. I put my list away.
No, you've not done your Who
swear to
top
God,
5 yet.
I'm not even joking. I put my list away. I was like, okay, what's that?
Jag off.
Holy shit. I forgot mine. Fucking, I didn't even do my 5. I will make this quick. Number 5, I Can See for Miles.
It's a great song.
For miles and miles and miles. I like the message. I like the message behind it. Number 4, Baba O'Riley. Baba O'Riley, that keyboard.
That's my bubbling under. That is my number 6.
Yeah,
because that's the Teenage Wasteland song. They don't say Baba O'Riley in the song anywhere.
You're right.
It's the Teenage Wasteland song.
So great. That
was my number 6.
Sort of a like Pete Townsend was he was worried because the Sex Pistols were blowing up and the whole punk scene was happening, and he was like, oh shit, we're dinosaurs now, we're done. And he was getting hammered, and he ran into a couple of the guys from the Sex Pistols, and they said, no man, keep going. And that made him feel worse. We got drunker, and he actually woke up and he just was fucked up, and so he wrote the song.
You know what I like when the Who does, and I just like the split vocals. You got two lead singers in that band.
Yeah.
So Daltrey sings the lead, but then Pete Townsend kind of sings the chorus, and then the Teenage Wasteland part, which is great. So, and then, Pete Townsend can sing his ass off.
And that's probably what's going to help save Daltrey, because Townsend sings a lot of the different songs during the show. So there you go. Maybe that's helped Roger Daltrey have longevity, because they don't have to sing every song in the set. So that'd be interesting to how they trade off songs throughout the set. That was number 4 for me. Number three, Can't Explain. Always love that song. Always loved that song. Can't Explain. That was number 3. Number 2. Wow, this is wild. Number 2, I put Won't Get Fooled Again. The Scream. Can't wait for the
number
Scream.
2 is Won't Get Fooled Again.
Yes. In you know what it is? I think this is where, how we talk about this all the time. It's like, well, I play Green Day all the song, and I play a lot of classic rock all the time, right?
Yeah.
I've played the shit out of that song. So that kind of, maybe I use that as a little bit, I can't get too excited about it as much as I used to back in the day.
It's when we did Ozzy, we talked about Crazy Train. Does it damage the greatness of the song because you hear it and it's overplayed and whatnot? I don't play any of these songs, and I was so excited to do the research for this list.
Right.
So you have it at number 2 with all the great things we said about Won't Get Fooled Again.
Correct. And then number 1, because we don't play it on the radio, and I'm not burned out on it, and I just listened to it a little while ago, and I'm like, God, I forgot how great this song is. Love, Rain, or Me at number one.
It's the best vocal line of Roger Daltrey. If he sings that, I will be screaming and standing in ovation the entire time if they even attempt to do that song.
It's gonna be great. I can't fucking wait, dude. So there you go. And if you've got a top 5 song or a Who song that we missed, obviously we did because they got a billion great songs. There's a bunch of other ones I was thinking about, but I just went, nope, I'm sticking to these. Put them on the socials, put them on the YouTube channel, send us emails. We don't give a shit. We'll read them. I love seeing the top 5s because it's so cool. Because you get different opinions on other people's music. And it's like, oh yeah, no, you're right. That's a good one. Shit. Probably should put that one on my list too. Every time I see everyone's top 5, I'm like, ooh, good one. Fuckers.
But when you do get the approval, it's like, Rod, you're lucky. You had that AC/DC song. I let you live for another podcast.
I know. And it's like, well,
it's very serious. It's very like, wow. People are definitely very judgmental on these. If you get something wrong, they're going to let you know. How could you not have included this? So that's why I always try just to bring a little something, just why I put it on my list, and it doesn't mean that it's right. These things, that's why we do the list, because they're fun to argue and they're fun to even to change your mind. Jason will change my mind on something, or like, I'll be like, damn, you know what? You're right. I should have maybe put that on there.
But that's why music is so great, because there's no right or wrong with music a lot of times in a lot of these situations, because you like what you like and other people like what they like. And if you have the common sense to just talk about it and not get pissed off and be like, you suck, you blow. No. Why do you not like that song? I don't know. I just don't. It doesn't connect with me for whatever reason, It's great to have those conversations. It's like you said, we both learn more shit. I learn more from you about songs than I'm sure you do from me. And then when I look at these lists online that everyone loads up there, they're like, it's cool. I think what's going to be fun to watch happen is the hammering we take over where we put the Who on that list of top 10 bands. No one's going to be bummed about the top 5 favorite songs. I think we're going to catch shit for the 10 bands that you put together, and then who's above the Who. I think we're going to catch some shit for that one.
9, 10, 11, 12. It's 13. It's 13 when I look at all the bands that I kind of threw. 14 with Queen. Shit.
Yes.
All right. So it's 14 that we tossed around. Yeah. Who's missing? You're going to get Skynyrd Guy. Come on, dude. How could you not have Leonard Skynyrd on there? You know how much. You know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Van Halen fan number 1. He knows that. He knows that they're after those bands that I mentioned. Kiss is after those bands that we talked about. They just are. Okay, fight me on. It comes down to being 14 bands that we were throwing around. Fight me on who's really bigger rock band. Then you're going to go solo stuff. I get it. Elvis. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I was going bands.
Yeah. No, it totally makes sense. I mean, it's just tough because you got to put the parameters in there, and then you know what, you're going to want to have all the research. You want to have.
And I had no parameters.
Yeah. And that's what's hard about those lists. Any of these lists are difficult. So anyway, leave your comments on our socials, whatever, or on the YouTube channel when you watch this disaster. So Rod, any final thoughts?
Yeah, because my final thought's going to be really quick, because you left a little cliffhanger here for your final thought here. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Mine's really simple this week. Everybody knows like what hallway banter is, like, hey, hot enough for you? It's like, hey, man, you working hard or hardly working? Whoa. We have a little common area at the radio stations. We got 6 radio stations. And I don't know anybody's name, but, I chit chat with them, you having a good day today, blah, 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 that type of thing, getting coffee.
Sure.
And I do interact with people. I don't want to be in the building, and I don't want people thinking, well, yeah, I worked with that Rod Ryan and he was a dick. If somebody wants to talk about something, I'll engage with them a little bit, but everybody knows that you're on the air. So there's not a lot of pressure in the morning. When everyone's on the air, there's no pressure to really engage. It's meant to be little quip here and there. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Yeah, you're right. All right, have a good show.
Right.
I'm walking down the hall, and it's after the show, so I would have time to engage. And most of the times in the hallway, it's just stupid little things that are said. The guy says to me today, he's like, "Hey man, nice sneakers," and I'm cool with that. They're really bright. I mean, I still have them on. They're this bright yellow,
nice.
like tennis ball yellow, right?
Cool.
It's like, I like those sneakers, man. I'm like, thank you. And I'm walking. I'm like, I figured that's it. And then he says, as I'm walking away, he's like, if you ever get tired of those, and I'm like, just keep walking. Just keep walking. Nope. I turn around. My sneakers? Are you saying that if I get tired of these sneakers, are you saying that you want them? Now I am kind of being a little bit of a dick. Hey man, you got a motorcycle, you got a Jeep. Hey man, if you ever sell that Jeep, man, let me know. Let me know. He said nice sneakers, and then he goes, you ever get tired of those? That's it. So I'm like, I'm going to catch him on this a little bit. Because I maybe, somebody says, have a nice day. You say you too. It's like, sometimes somebody said, man, hey, how are you? You too. Oh, damn, sorry. I wasn't really paying attention.
Right.
I go, are you implying that you want these sneakers? He goes, yeah, man, they're sweet. This guy is 5'5". Okay. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm not tall, but I have big feet. I go, dude, these are size 13. This traffic guy, Sky Mike, is 5'5". Okay. And he goes, oh, you're right. They might be a little big. I'll see you later. He walked down the hall.
Dude, the fact that
I should have let it go. I should have let it go. I should have let it go. I think he just kind of said something and then didn't really think about what he meant. But you get tired of those, bro. If you're thinking of letting those shoes go, see me. If you're
dude, I mean, they're sneakers. You know what? I kind of wear mine until they're kind of useless after that. Wow, they're gone.
I got a secondary market for these already. I got somebody that, after I told him they were size 13, then he was no longer interested in if I ever decided to let those go. I think he's out.
The size 13 was making the decision for him, not the fact that your sweaty ass feet are in every day. That was the one factor that kind of squashed it for him. That was kind of the deal breaker. Other than that, when I turned around, he's like, I might be leaving here with those shoes today. I might be walking out of here. There might be a swap right here in the hall. Maybe Rod's a little wily. I don't know. Dude.
But the size was the killer on that one for him. Sorry, I didn't want to take that much time with that silly story. Jason, final thoughts. What do you have?
I can't beat that. That's fucking great. I can't beat.
Yeah, you can. Tell everybody what you got.
So the last month, and you know about this, the last month I've been taking a lot of meetings, a lot of phone calls, a lot of interviews, a lot of things happening in my world that I didn't expect at all. I was been totally content doing my midday show on the Classic Rock station.
Have you had irons in the fire?
No, I've had nothing. I've been sitting here minding my own biz.
Oh, okay. Well, listen. Aha. The
mind of my
ringy
own
dingy. People came to you. You're bringing milkshakes to the yard.
And I get a text one day and it's like, hey, man, I'd like to talk to you. I have an opportunity for you. I'm like, all right. You know what? They always say, go have the conversation. Go have the conversation. Because you know what? Even though it may not be right for you, you might learn some things along the way. So go have the conversation.
So you get a text message.
I get a text message. Hey, man, love to meet up with you. Cool. And we set the date. Bam. Next day, having a meeting. And then another meeting, and then another meeting, and then another interview, and then another interview with a higher up, and then another interview with a higher up, and just kept this food chain climbing up and down this corporate ladder that I went through. Long story short, this podcast comes out on Thursday. My last day on the Classic Rock station will be this Friday. So I am done talking about Leonard Skinner, brother. No
for
more.
Now.
Well, yeah, fuck, right? You never know, right? The way radio goes. It could be a couple of weeks. I might be going back. You never know. I will no longer be working at that station anymore.
What station are you going to?
I am going to be working at an alternative rock station here in New Orleans. I'm not moving the city. I'm not leaving the town. It's Alt 92.3. It's an alternative rock station. I'll be doing afternoon drive, 3 to 7. And dude,
and you're the boss.
Yes, I am actually not only doing the on-air stuff, I will be the program director. I will be the Andy Travis, to use an older school reference.
How about meet the new boss, same as the old boss?
That is always the challenge.
You don't want to be the same as the old boss, because the old boss ain't there for a reason, I guess.
Well, apparently he left. He went and got another job. So,
okay.
So yes, I will be programming that station, a couple other stations as well. So I went from sitting in my underwear doing my little classic rock radio show to now I have to go and manage people, dude. I got to go be a boss. Like I've got to be a mentor. I have to be a leader now. I have to clean up my shit a little bit, and I got to go get some ratings. And I got to play the right. You know what I mean?
When they approach you and they talk about the job, and I realized what is happening right here, this little nonsensical thing that we do. Is it brought up at all, like that you do it? Do they know that you talk to me? Do they know that the stupid shit that is said on this show, are they aware? Is there any awareness of the dumbness that happens on Wednesday nights in your life?
It came up a couple of times, actually.
It did, and they still hired you.
I know. How often do we talk about like how to program radio stations without getting too specific? We talk a lot about radio. Hopefully, I didn't listen to those parts, because that would have never gotten me hired. So
they know you do this. You can continue to do this. This is not in any jeopardy.
I had it written into my contract that I do a podcast with a guy at another company in another city, a competing company, actually, iHeartRadio. Yeah. And I'm going to Cumulus Radio. So it is. And they're like, yeah, we can't wait to put your podcast on our platform. I'm like, wow. Okay. So there's people with vision out there in the world still, Rod. They recognize how good this is, and they want to spread the love, I assume.
What kind of fucking vision is they're hiring your ass to come in there and be the boss? It's bad vision, double vision, horrible vision. Nothing close to 2020.
The thing about it too is the fact that you're right. Is that I had no intention of ever getting back into the game in that way before. Again, I really
being the boss. You've been program director on several other radio stations. I did it for a very short period of time. God, I never want that job again.
I really had to be convinced, man. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was an odd process. Dude. It was a cool process. And my new GM, very cool through the whole thing. Very awesome. Anytime I had I'm like, dude, are you serious? I can't. It's, and he's like, no. So, obviously, when I get in there, I'll figure out what's real and what's not, because they're going to shine your shoes for you pretty good on the way in the door. But no, I'm looking forward to it, man. I get to go and
that's awesome.
And get to be the guy in charge again. It's weird. It took me a lot. It took a lot to get there to this point, but we made it happen. And here we go. The ride starts on Monday. So
Friday, April 29th is your last day on Bayou.
Yep.
And then when do you become the boss, the new boss with this new radio station? When do you go on the air? Because you're also, like you said, it comes with an air shift. So Jason's the boss of the station. So people in Houston will understand. He's the radio wizard at his station.
Right.
But he's also doing afternoon drive. So Radio Wizard, my wizard, doesn't have to go on the air except when he bothers us and barges in. When do you go on the air? When does that all start?
That won't be for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I don't have an official start date for that just yet, but
okay, good.
I'll let everybody know. So yeah, no, it's exciting. You know what? One of those things is, and I talked a lot, and you helped me a lot. We talked about it a few times between, when I found out and to get here. So thank you for all the help guiding me through some certain things. It was cool to because I didn't know. I was like, fuck, what do I do now? And you're like, dude, do this. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea.
You got to get creative with things to ask for,
Correct.
And then you ask for things that they didn't even know they could give you. It's like, oh yeah, we didn't even think about that. Cool. Yeah, you can have that if you want.
Cool. And it's funny because like my wife's like, do you really want to go back into that world? Do you really want those headaches again? Do you really want that? And I'm like, because I had kind of I do other things that, you know, I got a lot of other projects that I'm always doing and stuff. And I'm happy doing all those projects. And I thought I'd just ride out there, however long my little radio career would go, doing middays on the classic rock station. I was fine with that. I was like, all good. But then I get the text, and the second I got the text, I started reprogramming radio stations in my skull.
Right.
We talk about programming on this, and this is in our DNA.
It's a sickness.
It is an absolute sickness. And I started completing plans and everything else. I've got the whole thing worked out in my skull right now. And I thought, well, hell, man, this would be a nice little end cap to the end of the career down the road. You know, if I can let this go for a few years, started out as a shit-eating intern long time ago. People have heard the story on this podcast. And then I can go out, program, do some things, see what happens, hopefully be successful. And then boom, nice little career, you know, nice little.
I thought you were going to say you were like leaving, still eating shit or something. It seemed like it was kind of coming around to a full circle thing.
I'm kind of hoping that I've learned a lot in all these years, you know, all that shit we talk about. You know, it's easy to sit on a podcast and say, oh, here's what you do, right? You know, and you're still obviously in the game quite heavily. I have not been heavily in the game. You know, I've not had any.
Well, you're about to get heavily in the game. So, and the game's a lot different. And, you know, I no doubt, I know you're going to do great at it, but like you said, you do all these other things. And now this is back to the grind. And think about it. This is what I kind of liken it to. When I'm watching the NFL and I'm seeing the guys sitting around, and you know, I never thought John Gruden was going to get back into coaching. I really thought he enjoyed being John Gruden, you know, and he had always been asked if he wanted to get back into coaching, and obviously he did. And then the problems and all that, but you know, like Bill Cowher was another one, like, because I always secretly wanted him to go to Buffalo. I'm super happy with what Sean McDermott. I'm happy. But for all those years when we were struggling, Bill Cowher is just sitting there, and I'm thinking, God, he would be such a perfect fit. And coaches saw when coaches get out of it, they don't want that anymore. The grind, it's so intense. It's not 9 to 5. It's intense.
Right.
And Bill Cowher could have coached another 20 years.
Easily.
Didn't want to, though. Didn't want it because it was, so you're getting back into, it's not quite, you know, you're not up all night, but it's programming, and it's just, there's really not like this finish line, because you can't, even when you do have success, you can't relax because there's another ratings period that you're in, and there's another book coming up, and there's another quarterly coming up, and it really is madness. You're just chasing your tail nonstop. And, you know, that's what I do too. There's no finish line.
No, there's never a finish line.
There's never a finish line where it's like, oh, hey, I got this thing figured out. I mean, you're going to get that radio station sounding way better than it does now. I know what you're going to go in there. I know what you're going to do. And I know you're going to do all those great things, but there's no like fixing a radio station and then just, okay, I fixed it. It's like, no, it's constantly working on that car, and your head's under that fucking hood nonstop to tweak things, to make it go faster, to make the car faster. That's what you're doing. Your job is to make that car go faster.
And don't think I didn't think all that. Like, oh God, I'm going to have all these headaches now, and I've got all this pressure and all this shit.
But it's exciting though. And it's a great industry, one that you know very well. Right. So I'm not saying anything that you don't already know. It's an awesome, amazing industry to be in. And it's one that very few people are in now. So the fact that you're getting this shot at a big job, I think it's awesome, you know, and I mean, I hope it goes on to bigger things. You always talk in these terms like, okay, this will be my last, you know, thing. I'm like, I think you're going to get in there, and then boom, who knows, dude, you're going to take this thing to another level, I think.
And here's what's really cool about it. From what and believe me, I've thought this shit for the last month like crazy. I mean, over and over again. Do I really want to do this? Do I really, really want to do this? Can my energies be better spent somewhere else? You know, older, wiser, you know. And then I kept thinking, Jesus, man, think of all the shit I've learned in these last 10 years, whatever, 7 years, since I got out of doing radio like full time. Think of all the things I've learned. I've had time to sit back, observe, learn all these other things in the world that I've done. how can I take all that now and squeeze it down this road of radio? You know, because I feel like I've actually gone out and done a bunch of shit. And yeah, I've been, you know, to use the coach analogy, you know, you don't think Bill Cowher, if he had the energy and he had all that and he's been away for a while, he wouldn't come back and have a little different way of doing it, and maybe
of course he would.
a better way of doing it, and maybe, you know, not get so freaked out about the small, insignificant bullshit. You know
I think Bill Cowher, I think he could get it. I think he could go and coach a team to the Super Bowl in a couple of years. I really do.
Yeah. So I don't know if I can do that, but I'm planning on doing well. I'm not going in this thing. I'm dropping 10s. Okay. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to start dropping 10s.
You didn't tell him that dumb bullshit in the interview, did you?
No. I was very professional.
You didn't tell him you were dropping 10s?
No. They're going to
thank Christ. Okay. So you know how dumb that sounds, and you didn't use it in your interview, and you got the job. You didn't say that and got the job. You should probably think about maybe if that's necessary on this podcast.
It's absolutely necessary, because it just fucking, it's like a little kitten scratching at you.
But it wasn't good enough for the interview. Dropping 10s, as you love to say. You would think that you would want your new employers to know that you do nothing but drop 10s.
They're about to find
Leads
out.
me to believe I'm questioning the 10s you're dropping now. You didn't tell those guys you were dropping 10s?
I just dropped another 10 right now. I just told you I got a new job, a bigger job, the whole thing. That would be a pretty good size 10 I just dropped. Okay.
I guess. And you didn't even need to tell them you dropped 10s.
Dropping 10s. I haven't even brought dropping 10s up in a few episodes because it's obvious to the audience. There goes Gansey dropping another 10. Like, people, you know, it's so great. It's so stupid. And I don't feel that way. Believe me, I fucking suck every day. I get up and I just suck my way through the day. I'm terrible. But you know what? I drop 10s because that should be your goal every day, to drop 10s, to go out there and kick ass. Do you do it? I mean, I'm doing pretty good so far, but you know, you got to aspire to do that. And I joke when I say it, but now people are saying shit on my social media. Hey, you fucking dropping 10s, Ginty. Or they'll chime into me, send me stuff and go, dude, I just wanted you to know I dropped a 10 today. I did this, and this. I'm like, fuck, you did dropping 10. Like, it's so stupid. And I love it. I fucking love it. That'd have been another great shirt too, by the way.
Dropping 10s. I'm going to drop 10 beers. I'm going to drop 10 beers at Jazz Fest. So that's cool.
Yeah, it is dropping 10s. Well, then I will see you this weekend, brother.
Yeah, that's weird to leave a podcast and say, hey, see you this weekend, buddy.
I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. I'm just looking forward to get out and seeing people again, man. It's been cool the last couple of weeks. I've been going out doing other shit. It's like, hey, human, how are you? And it's like, you know, everyone's just got this little odd. There's this little percentage of awkwardness out there in the world right now, so at least that I've noticed, and it's kind of cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys, thank you. If you're still, geez, you can't be. No. There's no way you're still listening or viewing this, but if you are, again, follow, subscribe, you know, smash all that stuff that you're supposed to be smashing. I don't even know, but you got to subscribe to this stuff, and you got to get interactive with us. So, greatest rock bands of all time. Where did we get that wrong? The Who songs. That's a little nichey, but favorite Who songs. Let us know anything. You're dropping a 10. Let us know. Okay. So it is at Playpants Pod, all the different socials. And thanks to our friends, Pirates of the Quarter, our only sponsor, and still to this day, only sponsor. Anybody want to sponsor this garbage? Please hit us up.
Yeah, I think they should, because it gets results. According to the Pirates, they say it gets results. So you know what? I suggest sponsoring this podcast, the Playpants Podcast. Till next time.
All right, Jason, I will see you this weekend.
I'm looking forward to it, dude. Can't wait.
Bye, everybody.
Let's go. It's time. Put on Playpants.
Find us wherever you listen to podcasts. See us on our YouTube channel and follow our social media pages at Playpants Pod.